Okay, welcome to my Christmas lesson for public primary schools in China. So I always like to start off my PPTs either with the rule slide or some slide like this one, which has some music and a lot of color and things happening that draws their attention. So I like to go over the date for Christmas. I think that's very important for them, and I will have them repeat 25th of December. And I emphasize that this is a day that all children are very excited for, and I point to the animated GIFs that all the children get these presents, and they get very excited about it. I then start to go into what makes Christmas Christmas, and I purposely chose things that I think the students here in China would be more familiar with. So all the children here tend to be familiar with a Christmas tree, and I'll go over the vocabulary of what makes a Christmas tree, which is obviously the tree plus the ornaments and the colored lights. Now you'll notice that I have lights, ornaments, and Christmas tree underlined. That means that this is vocabulary that's going to appear in games later on, and it's vocabulary that I want to drill and get them to repeat. I also go a little bit into the Santa story, and I emphasize that the day before Christmas, Santa, who has the white beard and the red clothes, he goes and he travels with his reindeers and his sleigh, which is like his car. And I use my GIFs and pictures to point out what the vocabulary words are. And I ask them to be quiet so they can listen for Santa. And I play the bells and say, "Oh, is Santa coming?" So this little sequence is what I use to explain what Santa does. So he gives presents and he gives Christmas cards, and I get them to repeat this. And I go through the sequence of how he does this. He comes down the chimney after he gets off his sleigh, and while you're sleeping, he walks very quietly and he puts gifts and presents and cards under your tree for Christmas the next day. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. So in China, Christmas is very commercial. So that's what I led with, is the stories about presents and Christmas tree that they're familiar with. But I also want to sneak in a little bit of the morals of Christmas and say that there is a real message apart from Santa and presents and lots of lights. So obviously, from what I've explained to what I say to the kids, it's going to be vastly different, and it's going to depend on the grade of the students. So I will grade my language, but even the highest level student may have trouble with understanding this peace and goodwill to all with the real message of Christmas. Basically, I just try to convey that Christmas is about being good to all people, and that we are all nice to each other, and that we share, and we have time with family. And generally they seem to get the gist. So One last time, I will go over and drill all the vocabulary words and make a point that they should say this because these words are going to come later in the class, so they have to remember them.
Merry Christmas!
So after all of that drilling and teacher talk, now is the time where I want to kind of break up my class a little bit. I actually use a song called Santa, and it is a Santa variation of the song Bingo, Bingo is Santa. It's very fun, they're familiar with the song, so it's very easy for them to pick up and sing. So after coming back from the games, So after coming back from the song, we'll go into the games and we'll see what sort of vocabulary that they remember. So I've used a lot of animated GIFs here because I feel that's what attracts their attention. And I try not to make it too difficult. I actually have numbers along with the choice words. If they can't pronounce the words, they can at least say the numbers. And so I start off with the multi-choice words. And then I kind of go into a Santa present delivery game. This game, I believe, was from Herber, a fantastic teacher who's on the ISL Collective that does some great PPTs. I actually change the pictures and the vocabulary that it's using for presents. Because I want it more in line with the school book. So all these things that they see, they should be familiar with and at least know the vocabulary for. I highly recommend that you change the vocabulary and the pictures depending on, like what the students will be familiar with. And the last game that we have here is a hidden picture game, and see if they can see who it is. It's Santa.
Merry Christmas!
So again, I'm breaking up the class after the games. We're going to sing a song. The song that I like to use is Wish You a Merry Christmas because there's many different variations that you can find on YouTube. I particularly like one by Pink Fong, which just focuses solely on the chorus because sometimes these Christmas songs can be quite wordy and it's very difficult to explain the vocabulary, as often it is quite old and traditional. Now, after they come back from singing a song, I'm actually going to teach them a song. Now, when I teach them songs, I actually include the Chinese characters along with the pinyin, and I actually have the English on here. And what I like to do is I like to add lots of GIFs and pictures and animations that makes it easy for me to show the meaning, even if they can't say the meaning to begin with. And when I have them repeat the sentences of the lyrics in the song, I will actually try and get them to do it in a sing-song voice as they would in the song. So they're already familiar with how they would say it. So one of the reasons that I chose Jingle Bells to be my main go-to singing Christmas song here that I teach is because it's very similar to how it is in Chinese. In Chinese, they say ding ding dang. Well, in English, we say jingle bells, and it's very similar sound. So after all of that learning to sing Jingle Bells, and we've practiced individually and in groups, I actually just put on a Jingle Bell song from YouTube. Normally it's one by Super Simple Songs, and I just get them to sing along with it. And coming back from singing, I'll go into one last game that we can play, and it's a decoration game.
Red.
Basically, with this game, they have to tell me the number of the different bauble or ornaments, as I like to call them. And if they get the wrong answer, they get a snowball thrown at them by that bad boy.
Yellow. Blue.
Pink.
Green. Orange.
Merry Christmas.
And my final game is a memory match game. And you can see here I've got pictures, and I also have their corresponding words. So what they have to do is they have to match the pictures with the words, and they get points for doing so. And we do one big I wish you a Merry Christmas, and after the class is finished, I will go into I'll show a funny short Christmas video. There's a Shaun the Sheep one called I Wish You a Merry Christmas. That's always a treat for them. And I hope you enjoyed the Christmas PPT and that you have a Merry Christmas too.